Alright, so to have a look at this factory function, we're going to have a nice little convoluted scenario, obviously, because I'm not very good with ideas. But just imagine that you're a front-end developer and the main man has had a fantastic idea. They're like, right, I want a shape on a web page. People love shape. Let's put the shape on a web page. Shape, not shapes. So we're going to put one shape on a web page. So let's do that. Let's do that now. Right, so we need a shape. Well, let's not be too abstract. Let's do a circle, right? So let's circle equals, we need to create a DOM element. So the reason we're doing this weird old school JavaScript creation of a DOM element is because I'm lazy. If I set everything up to use CSS and like Webpack, then it would be fine. But yeah, I'm just being lazy basically because I want to use variables in the creation. I want to use variables in the CSS, but to do that, you have to set a bunch of stuff up, don't you? Or use create React app, and React isn't ideal for this example. Anyway, let's carry on. So not only is the example convoluted, also just like some terrible code style, making these objects in JavaScript and then applying the styles in JavaScript as well, but just bear with me. So right, we're gonna make a circle. So we need clip path. Honestly, I didn't know about this until the other day, until I started looking into making this video, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, because there's lots of ways to make shapes in CSS in there, but I mean that is a very imperative one, isn't it? You just say circle and makes a circle. Alright, math.random times 100. What am I doing? Yeah, okay. And then add the px, ox, px. Let's copy this. I don't know if you folks use different operating systems or keyboards, like different hardware at home and at work, but I've got like a Mac at work and Windows at home and different keyboards as well, so I enjoy getting to use all of them, but I never know what keys my fingers are hovering over, and that is a very plausible excuse for not being able to type, right? That's what it's all about, making solid excuses. Okay, circle cell position absolute. So yeah, we're setting the height and width, clip path circle. I think that probably needs something else, but I can't remember, so we'll sort that out in a bit. What else do we need? Yeah, we need to actually position it. Math.random again, and let's be safe and say 500 because want to make sure it's not off the browser window. Left dot random, lots of math.random. 1000. Where's my and? I literally just typed it. Alright, is that enough? Clip path height, width, background color. Or we won't see very much, I think. Background color, red, nice color. Let's take a look at the HTML. We've got a div ID root, a lot of React work, you know, so get used to having that one there. Document dot, what am I doing here? Get element by ID. Gonna add the root, and what we're gonna do to it, we're gonna append our circle. Alright. So, I mean, that took longer than it should, but let's have a look at our lovely circle and see if our imaginary company would be happy with us. Alright, here we go. So every time I refresh, we get a new circle. Lovely. It's just what they asked for. So the boss is super happy. I get 11 out of 10 on my performance review. Fantastic with them. But then, as it is with work, they say, do you know what? We don't really want one circle. We want loads of circles. Can you do us maybe a button so we can have as many circles as we want? And I go, okay. So this is when you start to need to think a little bit, because we did we made a circle, didn't we? We made a lovely circle. We got this code here, but how do we make more circles? Cool. So we need more circles, not just the one. So the first thing we need to do is add a button inside the body tag. Come on. Yeah, so we're going to add a button. We're going to go wild and call it add circle. We are going to give the button an ID so that we can reference it. Do you know what? Maybe I'll call the ID add circle as well. Alright, now we need to add an event listener. Jeez, I normally work in React, so this is a real blast from the past. Okay, so we've got the element. What do we need to do now? We need to add an event listener. We want it to fire on click, and what do we want to do when we click? We want to make a circle. Fantastic. That function doesn't exist yet, and this is going to be our factory function. So let's go here. We'll just put this inside. And do you know what? So I could just pop this inside the make circle function, but I feel like a factory function is a function that returns something. So let's return circle. And then do so this one, make circle. We are going to have a circle here, const circle equals make circle, and we are going to add this one here. I'm just a little bit distracted because of the error. Yes, this is not a class, is it? So it's a factory function. All right. So here we go. So now we've got a function that makes a circle. I certainly hope. Okay, so we've got a nice little button, add circle, click it. Whoa, nothing? Oh, okay, just tiny. Okay, 1 circle, 2 circles, 3 circles. Every time you click the button, the factory function is getting executed, it's getting called, and we're making another circle. Fantastic, we did what we wanted. All right, so I mean, as you can see, code-wise, technically, this is super simple stuff. But we're building up to some real design patterns. So one thing is we were tasked with making lots of circles, and there's a few ways to do that. And what makes this approach, why it's called the factory function, is because we're not using the new keyword. So there's constructor functions. They use the new keyword, and then there's classes, which are basically, don't shout at me. They're basically constructor functions. I know there's some differences, but they're effectively constructor functions. So when you're not using the new keyword and you're making a new object, then that is a factory function. I think, I said earlier that design patterns are supposed to make things easier. I think I didn't mention it's not just easier, it's also architectural, to do things in a certain way that makes things more maintainable in the future, this kind of thing. But also, I would say a design pattern is kind of an answer to a question. And in this instance, the question is, how do you make a bunch of objects? and the answer is with a factory function. So I mentioned class and a constructor function. So why wouldn't I use one in this instance? Why I wouldn't use a class or a constructor function, especially in this instance, in this instance, is because you don't need to. A factory function is basically as simple as you can get. You don't mess around with this keyword. There's no new keyword when you're calling the function. So especially my go-to is if you're not doing any methods as well. So there's no methods on this circle, right? It's just a collection of properties. So you don't need to consider inheritance or sharing a method for saving memory. If you're just making an object, if you're making a collection of properties, factory function, I would say, instantly. Because constructor function can be nice for sharing properties. For sharing a method on the prototype, or a property on the prototype. But if you're not thinking about sharing things, if you just want to make some distinct objects, then factory function. All right, so let's have a look anyway at how it would look if we did do a constructor function for circle. All right, I'm gonna do some typing. Okay. Oh dear, caps lock. Looks so aggressive, huh? Alright, make circle constructor function, let's call it. Alright, so basically we will need the same as we have in our factory function, but this time it is a constructor function. So we call it with a new keyword. It makes a new object, empty object, and sets this to that object. So we need to litter this all over the code, and it's worth saying you can't directly assign to this, if that makes sense. So you can't put this equals document create element dot div, create element div. So the circle has to be on a property, which is circle. So you end up with circle.circle. Obviously we can make the naming better, but I mean that's just one there, and then put the new keyword here. But yeah, that's just one little example of, it's just an added layer of complexity, you know, and it does make sense in some situations. Oh dear, undefined. What have I done wrong? Alright, let's just go back quickly. Alright, what am I doing? You don't need to... okay, so what I've done is I haven't actually updated this. And this was, this was calling the original one, but with new. And there's no this stuff on it, so we won't get anything back. Alright, so this time should be good. Alright, no more undefined, just those sweet circles. But yes, as you can see, it's like another layer of complexity, I would say. If you're just making an object, we don't need to deal with this, right? We just have a factory function. That's nice. I think I said earlier that constructor functions and classes very similar, and that is indeed true. Let's just do this class. We'll call it circle class. Wild, huh? I don't think they have those, do they? And then we are going to do a constructor. Ring any bells? And then we're going to put all of this inside the constructor. Can't show history. Apologise, I seem to have forgotten how to copy and paste. This is the keyboard stress I was chatting about earlier. I've got an excuse for everything I have. Alright, so let's make a new circle class, and what should be different about this? Absolutely nothing. Alright, still works. So the takeaway for this one is that we've had a look at 3 ways to make an object: a factory function, a constructor function, and a class. And as you've seen, they are all very, very similar. People will get like very hit up about this is the only way, this is the best way, you should never use classes, you should always use factory functions. I'm easy. I think that classes have their uses in certain situations, so like we can do another video. But honestly, like one of the main things is just personal preference. Just some people don't like doing the new, they don't like doing the this, and I think it depends on your background and what you like to type, basically. Like there are differences that we've illustrated, and my personal preference would be a factory function, definitely for just creating an object without any methods, like I said, because you can share a method, whether it's on a class, a factory function, a constructor function. But when you use a constructor function or a class, it's a bit more kind of automatic that your new object will, or if you're making multiple objects, they will automatically refer to the same prototype. When you use a factory function and you're making a new object, the prototype of that is object. It's object. Whereas when you make the class or the constructor function, the prototype is the function that you made. So that's already kind of set up. But like I say, if you're making this a circle with no methods, no shared stuff, no shared properties, just making a new object every time, then you can't get more simple than the factory function. Whichever you prefer, you definitely can get more simple. That's a bit waffly as always, but hopefully that sums it up. So for this video, we have done the factory function. We've chatted a little bit about the differences between that and some other ways of making objects. There are obviously more ways, there always is, isn't there? But I think this is, you know, kind of compare and contrast the main things. And next time we are gonna have a look and a think about what would happen if your boss came back and said, hey, circles are great, we made, you know, made loads of money, it's been brilliant, everyone loves the circles, we're going to move on to bigger and better things. Yeah, you can guess. They want squares, they want triangles, they're going wild. And yeah, we're going to think about how we would account for that code wise. Sounds exciting, huh? But anyway, and until then, thank you very much. Cheers. And I hope you liked this video and my new ring light. Cheers. Bye bye.